Part 4, Chapter 61 of Thus Spake Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, translated by Thomas Common. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Fourth and last part. Ah, where in the world have there been greater follies than with the pitiful? And what in the world hath caused more suffering than the follies of the pitiful? Woe unto all loving ones who have not an elevation which is above their pity. Thus spake the devil unto me once on a time. Even God hath his hell. It is his love for man. And lately did I hear him say these words. God is dead. Of his pity for man hath God died. Zarathustra, second part, The Pitiful. The Honey Sacrifice. And again passed moons and years over Zarathustra's soul, and he heeded it not. His hair, however, became white. One day he sat on a stone in front of his cave and gazed calmly into the distance. One there gazeth out on the sea and away beyond sinuous abysses. Then went his animals thoughtfully round about him, and at last set themselves in front of him. "O Zarathustra," said they, "gazest thou out perhaps for thy happiness?" "Of what account is my happiness?" answered he. "I have long ceased to strive any more for happiness. I strive for my work." "O Zarathustra," said the animals once more, "that sayest thou as one who hath overmuch of good things. Liest thou not in a sky-blue lake of happiness?" "Ye wags," answered Zarathustra and smiled, "how well did ye choose the simile. But ye know also that my happiness is heavy, and not like a fluid wave of water. It presseth me and will not leave me, and is like molten pitch." Then went his animals again thoughtfully round him, and placed themselves once more in front of him. "O Zarathustra," said they, "is it consequently for that reason that thou thyself always becometh yellower and darker, although thy hair looketh white and flaxen? Lo, thou sittest in thy pitch." "What do you say, my animals?" said Zarathustra, laughing. "Verily, I reviled when I spake of pitch. As it happeneth with me, so is it with all fruits that turn ripe. It is the honey in my veins that maketh my blood thicker, and also my soul stiller." "So will it be, O Zarathustra," answered his animals, and pressed up to him. "But wilt thou not today ascend a high mountain? The air is pure, and today one seeth more of the world than ever." "Yea, mine animals," answered he, "ye counsel admirably and according to my heart. I will today ascend a high mountain. But see that honey is there ready to hand, yellow, white, good, ice-cool, golden comb honey. For know that when aloft, I will make the honey sacrifice." When Zarathustra, however, was aloft on the summit, he sent his animals home that had accompanied him, and found that he was now alone. Then he laughed from the bottom of his heart, looked around him, and spake thus. "That I spake of sacrifices and honey sacrifices, it was merely a ruse in talking, and, verily, a useful folly. Here aloft can I now speak freer than in front of mountain caves and anchorites' domestic animals. What to sacrifice? I squander what is given me, a squanderer with 1,000 hands. How could I call that sacrificing? and when I desired honey, I only desired bait, and sweet mucus and mucilage, for which even the mouths of growing bears and strange, sulky, evil birds water. The best bait, as huntsmen and fishermen require it. For if the world be as a gloomy forest of animals, and a pleasure ground for all wild huntsmen, it seemeth to me rather, and preferably, a fathomless rich sea. A sea full of many-hued fishes and crabs, for which even the gods might long, and might be tempted to become fishers in it and casters of nets. So rich is the world in wonderful things, great and small, especially the human world, the human sea. Towards it do I now throw out my golden angle rod and say, Open up, thou human abyss. Open up, and throw unto me thy fish and shining crabs. With my best bait shall I allure to myself today the strangest human fish. My happiness itself do I throw out into all places far and wide, twixt Orient, noontide, and Occident, to see if many human fish will not learn to hug and tug at my happiness, until, biting at my sharp hidden hooks, they have to come up to my height, the motliest abyss-groundlings, to the wickedest of all fishers of men. For this am I the heart, and from the beginning, drawing, hither drawing, upward drawing, upbringing, a drawer, a trainer, a training master, who not in vain counseled himself once on a time, become what thou art. Thus may men now come up to me, for as yet do I await the signs that it is time for my down-going. As yet do I not myself go down, as I must do, amongst men. Therefore do I wait here, crafty and scornful, upon high mountains. No impatient one, no patient one, rather one who hath even unlearnt patience, because he no longer suffereth. For my fate giveth me time. It hath forgotten me, perhaps, or doth it sit behind a big stone and catch flies? And verily, I am well disposed to mine eternal fate, because it doth not hound and hurry me, but leaveth me time for merriment and mischief, so that I have today ascended this high mountain to catch fish. Did ever any one catch fish upon high mountains? And though it be a folly, what I here seek and do, it is better so than that down below I should become solemn with waiting, and green and yellow, a posturing wrath-snorter with waiting, a holy howl-storm from the mountains, an impatient one that shouteth down to the valleys, Hearken, else I will scourge you with the scourge of God. Not that I would have a grudge against such wrathful ones on that account. They are well enough for laughter to me. Impatient must they now be, those big alarm drums which find a voice now or never. Myself, however, and my fate, we do not talk to the present, neither do we talk to the never. For talking we have patience and time and more than time. For one day must it yet come and may not pass by. What must one day come and may not pass by? Our great Hussar, that is to say, our great remote human kingdom, the Zarathustra kingdom of 1,000 years. How remote may such remoteness be? What doth it concern me? But on that account it is none the less sure unto me, with both feet stand I secure on this ground, on an eternal ground, on hard, primary rock, on this highest, hardest, primary mountain ridge, unto which all winds come as unto the storm parting, asking, where, and whence, and whither? Here laugh, laugh, my hearty, healthy wickedness. From high mountains cast down thy glittering scorn laughter. Allure for me with thy glittering the finest human fish. And whatever belongeth unto me in all seas, my in and for me in all things, fish that out for me, bring that up to me. For that do I wait, the wickedest of all fish-catchers. Out, out, my fishing-hook! In and down, thou bait of my happiness! Drip thy sweetest dew, thou honey of my heart! Bite, my fishing-hook, into the belly of all black affliction! Look out, mine eye! Oh, how many seas round about me! What dawning human futures! And above me, what rosy red stillness! What unclouded silence! Notes by Anthony M. Ludovici. Part 4. In my opinion, this part is Nietzsche's open avowal that all his philosophy, together with all his hopes, enthusiastic outbursts, blasphemies, prolixities, and obscurities, were merely so many gifts laid at the feet of higher men. He had no desire to save the world. What he wished to determine was, who is to be master of the world? This is a very different thing. He came to save higher men, to give them that freedom by which alone they can develop and reach their zenith. See note on chapter 54, end. It has been argued, and with considerable force, that no such philosophy is required by higher men. That, as a matter of fact, higher men, by virtue of their constitutions, always do stand beyond good and evil, and never allow anything to stand in the way of their complete growth. Nietzsche, however, was evidently not so confident about this. He would probably have argued that we only see the successful cases. Being a great man himself, he was well aware of the dangers threatening greatness in our age. In Beyond Good and Evil he writes, quote, "There are few pains so grievous as to have seen, divined, or experienced how an exceptional man has missed his way and deteriorated." End quote. He knew, quote, "from his painfulest recollections on what wretched obstacles promising developments of the highest rank have hitherto usually gone to pieces, broken down, sunk, and become contemptible." End quote. New in Part 4, we shall find that his strongest temptation to descend to the feeling of pity for his contemporaries is the cry for help, which he hears from the lips of the higher men exposed to the dreadful danger of their modern environment. Notes on the honey sacrifice. In the 14th verse of this discourse, Nietzsche defines the solemn duty he imposed upon himself. Quote, "Become what thou art." End quote. Surely the criticism which has been directed against this maxim must all fall to the ground when it is remembered, once and for all, that Nietzsche's teaching was never intended to be other than an esoteric one. Quote, "I am a law only for mine own." Quote, he says emphatically, quote, "I am not a law for all." End quote. It is of the greatest importance to humanity that its highest individuals should be allowed to attain to their full development. For only by means of its heroes can the human race be led forward step by step to higher and yet higher levels. Quote, "Become what thou art." End quote. Applied to all, of course, becomes a vicious maxim. It is to be hoped, however, that we may learn in time that the same action performed by a given number of men loses its identity precisely that same number of times. Quote, Quid licet Jovi, non licet bovi. At the last 8 verses, many readers may be tempted to laugh. In England, we almost always laugh when a man takes himself seriously at anything save sport. And there is, of course, no reason why the reader should not be hilarious. A certain greatness is requisite, both in order to be sublime and to have reverence for the sublime. Nietzsche earnestly believed that the Zarathustra kingdom, his dynasty of 1,000 years, would one day come. If he had not believed it so earnestly, if every artist, in fact, had not believed so earnestly in his huzzar, whether of 10, 15, 100, or 1,000 years, we should have lost all our higher men. They would have become pessimists, suicides, or merchants. If the minor poet and philosopher has made us shy of the prophetic seriousness which characterized an Isaiah or a Jeremiah, it is surely our loss and the minor poet's gain. End of chapter 61. Recording by John Van Stan, Savannah, Georgia.